Okay, let's unpack this deep dive. This one, it comes from a listener who shared some really personal stuff, excerpts from an account about, well, betrayal.
Yeah, and not just any betrayal. We're talking best friend and fiancé involved. It's
Yeah.
heavy.
And what grabbed me wasn't just the pain, though. That's definitely there. It's the response, how she handled it.
Exactly. It's a journey, really, from finding out in this devastating way to a very deliberate, almost strategic reaction, and then figuring out how to rebuild.
So let's trace that. The source starts by painting a picture of these really core relationships. First up, Natalie, the best friend.
Met freshman year, Georgia State,
Ah.
classic college story, right? Waiting in line at the bookstore.
Yeah, and the source even mentions the narrator's dorm, room 312 Kell Hall. They were apparently total opposites, one grounded, one the wild card, but they clicked instantly.
Yeah, that comes through strongly. They shared an apartment later off Ponte Leon Avenue. Little details stick out, like their heat breaking and watching the holiday all huddled up.
Little moments that build that sense of deep friendship.
Totally. And the source says Natalie even said something like, "We'll definitely be in each other's weddings." That kind of assumed future.
Oof, that hits different knowing what's coming. Okay, so then Ethan enters the picture. Junior year.
Right. Rooftop party, Midtown Atlanta. The source is really vivid here. City lights, music, smells, beer, and cinnamon vape, specifically.
Ah, okay. And his opening line.
You look like you need saving.
Oh boy, cheesy.
The source admits it was, but hey, it worked. He's described as, like, calm, an architecture major. Dreamed of designing spaces that felt like home.
Interesting contrast to Natalie's energy, and the relationship with him, according to the source, felt different.
Yeah, safe, steady, real. Not huge dramatic gestures, but small things.
Like
Bringing blueberry muffins from Highland Bakery, leaving sticky notes in her textbooks. Just comfortable, consistent stuff.
they moved in together after 2 years, right? Condo in Decatur.
Building a life, Target runs, takeout, the shared toothbrush holder, mundane maybe, but it felt significant, like they were building something solid.
So where was Natalie in all this? How did she react to Ethan?
Initially, seemed thrilled apparently. Teased the narrator about getting soft.
Okay, but the source also mentions Natalie's own views on relationships were different.
Yeah, that's a key point. Natalie apparently didn't really believe in forever, felt people just come and go.
Huh. So the narrator is building this forever life with Ethan, while her best friend kind of doesn't buy into the concept.
Exactly. Creates this underlying tension you only see looking back.
Yeah.
Especially because, and this is wild, Natalie apparently helped Ethan pick out the engagement ring.
Whoa.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the proposal happens, 4-year anniversary, back on that same rooftop.
Full circle, lights, candles, music, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
The source says the narrator loved the cliche of it all.
And she said yes.
Through tears and laughter, yeah. And Natalie was there, popped the champagne, gave this big hug.
Which the narrator later questioned.
Right. The source mentions her wondering afterwards, was that real excitement? Or maybe guilt?
Yeah.
Or was she practicing?
Ouch. Hindsight is brutal. This is where things start to feel unsteady.
Yeah, the narrative starts planting those seeds of doubt, but only in retrospect for the narrator. At the time, she felt things were solidifying.
But the source says the cracks were already there. When did the narrator start noticing things, the red flags?
It seems to ramp up after Natalie went through a breakup herself and
Yeah.
started, crashing at their place more often.
Okay.
It wasn't one big thing, but an accumulation. Little stuff.
Like what?
Like finding Natalie and Ethan sharing some inside joke, laughing really hard, and when the narrator asked, they just said, "Oh, you had to be there." That kind of exclusion.
Subtle, but it stings.
Or walking in on them watching Euphoria together under a blanket, and they kind of jump, like she interrupted something private.
Yeah, that feels awkward.
And then the text message. This seems like a turning point.
What happened?
She saw a notification pop up on Ethan's phone from Natalie. It said, "Don't tempt me," with the crying, laughing emoji.
And she saw that.
Saw the notification, yeah. But the source says she actively chose not to open the message. Told herself it was nothing.
Wow. Denial kicking in hard.
Totally. Didn't want to be the jealous fiancé. She even defended them to her cousin, who apparently pointed out they were maybe too close. She just threw herself into wedding planning instead.
Trying to focus on the positive, maybe? Distract herself?
Seems like it. But the source makes the point, right? Ignoring red flags doesn't make them vanish. It just means you get burned worse later.
So the night it all came crashing down, what does the source say happened?
Ethan claimed he was working late. Big pitch. Natalie was supposed to swing by their place just briefly, grab something she'd left.
Okay, sounds normal enough on the surface.
But then, the security app notification. Someone used the guest code to get into the building garage.
Ah, not the front door.
Right. So she checks the live camera feed for the garage, and there they are.
Natalie and Ethan.
Together. His hand on her back, her head tilted up at him. Looked like flirting. And crucially, they didn't head towards the main elevators. They went towards this rarely used back stairwell.
Oh.
Her heart's pounding.
Yeah.
She takes off her shoes, creeps down the stairs, silently. And she hears them.
What did she hear?
Natalie's giggle. Ethan saying, clearly, we shouldn't be doing this here. And then, silence.
Oh my God.
Yeah. The source describes her just walking back upstairs, numb, like a ghost in her own apartment.
Did she confront them then and there?
No. That's what's striking. She sat in the dark, processed it, even came home later, acted totally normal. Natalie texted some casual excuse the next day.
Unbelievable.
And in that silence, the source says she made a decision. She wasn't going to just crumble. She was going to respond deliberately.
This is where the shift happened.
Big time. She stopped being the person who would just forgive or fall apart.
Yeah.
The source literally says she became someone else. Strategic, cold, precise.
Okay, so what was the strategy? The source lays it out, right?
Step by step. First, gather proof.
Oh.
Undeniable proof.
Go.
Checked Ethan's phone. Apparently he didn't use a passcode. Forwarded incriminating text to a secret email address she set up.
Smart.
Then bought a voice-activated recorder. Hid it in their living room. Got audio. Including Natalie calling Ethan babe.
Wow. Okay, step 1, proof. What's step 2?
Play dumb. Act completely normal. Keep planning the wedding. Smile. Let Natalie stay involved. Even help pick out, like, catering stuff.
Lulling them into a false sense of security.
Exactly. Making them think they'd totally gotten away with it.
But she was making moves behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah. Scheduled a lunch with Ethan's boss. Seemed casual, but she dropped comments about his flexible schedule and how great it was he could manage it without missing deadlines. Knowing his timesheets were probably sketchy.
Planting a seed for an internal review. Subtle.
And she contacted Natalie's new boyfriend, this guy Caleb, anonymously. Send him screenshots of Natalie's texts to Ethan.
Spreading the consequences. Okay, step 3, the reveal.
Chose the moment carefully. Public. Controlled. The bridal shower. At a winery. Everyone important was there.
High stakes.
She waited until after the champagne toast. Then, instead of a happy photo slideshow,
Oh no.
she used the projector to play a compilation. Screenshots, texts, audio clips, even that blurry garage footage. Everything.
Jeez. What was the reaction?
The source describes just dead silence for like 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Then she looked right at Natalie, then at Ethan, said only, "You're both uninvited from the wedding."
Yeah.
And walked out. Didn't cry, didn't yell. The source says she didn't feel instantly better because the strategy wasn't quite done. Their biggest mistake, she writes, was underestimating her.
So the real satisfaction maybe came later in the fallout?
That's what the source suggests. Seeing their lives unravel while she started very intentionally to rebuild hers. Let's talk about the outcomes. Ethan first.
What happened to him?
He showed up begging, making excuses. She just handed him an envelope.
With the evidence?
Evidence, yeah. And a lease termination notice she'd already filed for their condo. And a note basically saying, find a new place. He was gone in a week.
And work. That lunch with his boss.
It worked. Word got out at the firm. They looked into his hours, saw the discrepancies tied to the times he was supposedly working late but was actually with Natalie. He got quietly fired.
Wow. So last she heard.
Freelancing, living with some old college buddy. Reputation shot.
Okay. And Natalie, what was her fallout?
She vanished from their friend group chat pretty quick. Ghosted people. Tried to spin it. Apparently claimed Ethan pursued her, that the narrator overreacted.
Did anyone buy it?
Doesn't sound like it. The source mentions how in their friend group, stuff gets around. Screenshots got shared. The audio clips made the rounds. Her reputation just crumbled.
People took sides.
Friends distanced themselves, blocked her. And that boyfriend, Caleb, he apparently posted her text online. Exposed her.
Ouch. Any career impact. She was in PR, right?
Yeah, new job. Her manager somehow saw the leaked stuff. She wasn't fired outright, but the source says her role got massively downgraded, sidelined from any client stuff, basically neutralized.
So while all that was happening to them, what was the narrator doing?
Rebuilding. Quietly, deliberately. Moved into a new apartment near the Beltline. changed her number, deleted all the wedding plans of Pinterest boards, started therapy.
Shifting the focus inward.
Completely.
Yeah.
Determined not to be defined by them. The source describes the aftermath as quiet, cold, precise, not chaotic.
Healing wasn't instant, though.
No, definitely not. Lots of disorientation, questioning everything. But this realization settled in. Their betrayal didn't define her. Her response did.
Choosing strategy over chaos.
Right. Composure over public meltdown. And the healing itself. The source describes it as pretty solitary, walks on the Beltline by herself, journaling, traveling alone Asheville, Savannah mentioned.
Learning to be okay on her own terms.
Exactly. Living the life she wanted, not waiting for someone else to complete the picture. And eventually, the bitterness started to fade.
Not because they deserve forgiveness.
But because she deserved peace. That's how the source puts it.
So, looking back at this whole intense story, what are the big lessons the source seems to pull out?
Several big ones. The danger of blind loyalty. That's the Natalie lesson, right?
Really?
The danger of false promises the Ethan lesson. Believing in a future someone isn't actually committed to.
Made sense.
And maybe the biggest one, never abandon yourself.
How does the source frame that?
Knowing your worth isn't up for debate. Not explaining away those red flags when your gut screams. Not staying silent to keep the peace.
Yeah.
Not shrinking yourself. Becoming like fiercely protective of your own energy, your own peace.
And it's framed not as bitterness, but as growth, resilience.
Exactly. Forging something stronger out of the wreckage. It's a powerful arc, from that initial hope about weddings to the cold precision of the reveal, and then the quiet strength afterwards.
It really is. And the source ends with a specific message, kind of directed at the listener, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty direct. A message for anyone who might be in a similar dark place.
Can you share that?
It says, "You are not stupid. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are becoming. And no matter how painful it feels right now, there will come a day when you'll look back and thank the universe for showing you exactly who didn't deserve a seat at your table. Because sometimes the most painful endings are the ones that finally set you free."
Wow, that's quite the mic drop. A powerful place to end this deep dive.